Hey
Okay,
everyone.
you ready?
Yay.
All right, everybody, they're ready. Yay.
I will show you 3 videos. It is just a really light video. That 2 videos is from the Whispers advertisement that they named like a girl, fight like a girl, or like act like a girl, like this. So. Have you seen this video?
Has anybody seen this video? If you did, could you raise your hand? I just wanted to clarify one point in the previous video where the brother of the little sister said, I wasn't insulting my little sister, I was insulting women. Like it was like a kind of insult towards women, not like an actual insult towards my little sister. So we see this as like something that divides between like the general like identity of women and the women that we actually know, saying that we're not saying this to the people we know, we're just saying it to the idea of women. And this is harmful because the people that we know are also inside the form of women, and they are discriminated against, not by their, also by their families in this way, by having the idea of like be a girl, run like a girl, like be kind of like demeaning and meaning that you can't really do something in the end. Right. Okay. So those were the 3 videos that we just wanted to show you. Now we just drew a picture of what you can use in debate depending on what the status quo is within our society, how women are being kind of like discriminated against, and how misogyny is actually taking form within our society. So this is actually the pyramid of hate. It's not something we had made up, it's actually from a source. You guys want to tell her?
Some researchers make a theory like this, but I didn't remember the exact his name.
Oh, so if you Google pyramid of hate, you're probably going to be presented with this image, so you can look it up and then look into more detail like what it's like trying to say and the examples that it has. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels of I guess like the groups of how the hate is directed towards like just people in general, and then this side shows you exactly what type of like action this hate takes. So the first level is microaggression, as our kind professor was able to explain to us today. So microaggression, in just general terms, is stereotypes, rumors, and insulting terms. So when it takes on to misogyny, like hating females, it goes into depreciating women, like telling them they cannot do something, like and they have to look some particular way. This is the basic microaggression level. The second level is where there is discrimination and prejudice. When females are treated inhumanely. So what this falls into is the Madonna whore division. Has anybody heard of this term? The Madonna and the whore. Do you know anybody who knows Madonna? Madonna, right? She's like the
1990s.
Yeah. She's like the pinup girl.
But that's not the
That's not what that's great. So Madonna is the saint
The
that.
mother of Jesus.
Yeah.
The perfectly pure woman who never even had sex, not even with her husband, because God just made her have a baby because God thought babies were
So she's
wonderful.
pure. So she's very pure.
Pure.
And you would have to sunbya. What is sunbya? Think of her as sacred, not tainted, and very clean. The whore division is the sexual woman, the woman who could be discriminated against, and the woman who is the gold digger, who uses her sexuality to get a one-up in society and stuff like that. So this division makes it so that the woman is divided into only the Madonna or only the whore. So you're either only one. instead of,
dichotomy.
yeah,
This
it's
is
the false dichotomy. If you can,
And the singer Madonna actually, like her name is actually intentionally trying to bring those things together, right? Because the singer Madonna like dressed very sexy and so on, but she also wanted to praise women and say that women were important at the same time. Saying you don't have to have that division between total purity or total just sex, you know, like women can be both.
yeah, so
right, that's right.
this makes it look like women are like objects of purity or objects of sexuality instead of being a human being.
Right.
Right. So next
Or whatever.
is the systematic discrimination that happens within society. This is the discrimination that happens, like the biases that prevent the women from getting opportunities, being able to progress up against the glass ceiling and whatnot, like getting a job and being able to get education. You guys may say that it's like fairly equal now, but if you look even in like the third world countries, or like you can see that women are still being discriminated against in terms of educational opportunities, and a lot of like women's schools are not being funded in like a lot of the third world countries, or they don't even have schools for women. So this results is kind of like the glass ceiling, or you can also say the lack of education.
Actually, there is a lot of glass series that, like glass elevator, glass turtle,
Plus,
glass cliff, a lot of things that which present the discrimination that women suffer in their jobs. Like glass ceiling is you cannot go like in a certain level of you cannot promote it. And glass elevator actually it usually the male use it. Like you cannot see clear result, but he keep going on, and I'm still staying down here. And glass cliff means that give the project which has a 99% fail possibility, that project we give to only female. Then if there is a high risk project in the company, they give the woman that take the project, and 99% they fail, and decided,
Oh, I don't think we have time for a debate. Because the exhibition debate in the afternoon, even though there may not be anybody, but there may be even just like 2 people, 5 people who come, it's been publicly advertised. We can't change the time of that.
But then, like, we have one more practice debate after the French
But we
debate.
still have one more practice
So
debate
can we,
after.
yeah.
Exactly. But it won't be all exactly the same people. Like Daiki, you have to go to your job, right? So we won't do these debates. We won't do these debates because we don't have time. But we still have about 20 minutes until lunchtime. So is there anybody else who has something that you thought about, you prepared, you want to talk about feminism? Because I think we should just, I thought it was very interesting. If anybody else has any other idea like this, I think that would be also very interesting. I was not bored for a minute. I was very fascinated. So if anybody else wants to go up, let's just continue talking. Yoshi?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody.
I want to.
Wait, we have so this is what we will do for 20 minutes. Like, anybody who has something they want to say about the topic of feminism, just you have time, you can take as much time you want until lunchtime. If you take 20 minutes, that's fine.
Okay.
But if you take less than 20 minutes, then someone else also could go up and say, explain, use the board. If you want to erase things on the board now, feel free to erase them, because especially the debate part, we're not going to do those teams anyway. Okay? Okay, right, Yoshi, you have the floor.
Please give me 30 seconds. Okay. What I want to say is that I'm happy to share your lecture because you can explain what the feminism is in detail and like perfectly. And I don't know some knowledge about what you're saying, and today I can understand what the feminism is. What I want to say is that you can explain and you can interest in what the feminism is. That is most important. Now we can find the lights beyond the tunnel. Means we in the time past, year by year, and generation to generation, next generation, we can improve the equality. Our situation is better. This I was given from your lecture. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the floor is open.
Like any questions or
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there was like something need more explanation or kind of confusing points was there.
it doesn't always have to be about this. Just like normally about feminism
Yeah.
is also fine too.
Any question is
I won't be too quick. If nobody else has anything, I have things I can say. Always. But yeah, I mean, I think like, you know, I didn't expect, like, even though I said like, oh, you should, you know, if you have something interesting you want to show us, I thought, you know, maybe someone would have something for 5 minutes or something like that. I never expected such an extensive amount of information, but I think it was really interesting. So if anybody else has something short, even like Yoshi, 30 seconds, 1 minute, feel free. Or a question like HongKyeong said. Oh, okay, well, I just wanna like ask a few questions and maybe make a couple of clarifications here too. A little bit about this and then like your timeline. What Ayoung was saying about like black women couldn't even keep their children, that's 1860. 1862, I think. Abraham Lincoln finally officially freed slaves, and then the end of this.
Official freedom didn't mean it was practically everybody's freedom.
Yeah, but they can have their families after 1860. So I think that's a really big distortion, like of the historical timeline. Voting rights in Britain, does anybody know? And in France, it's like around 1890 or 1900, and in America, it's like around 1920. So it's like long after the end of slavery, but I think, I don't know, it's just like a really, really big distortion of historical timescale, so I just wanted to clarify that. But I think the point is that at that point, right, it was still like a very prejudiced society where white people were the majority in the West, in every Western, you know, European, American country. And so basically, the people in charge of all the political discussions and movements were white people, so it was not so diverse. So yes, like the basic point they were trying to make is correct. And some people actually talk about first, second, third, fourth wave feminism even, where fourth wave is like this diversity, and third wave comes in between these two, where third wave is like deconstructing the social prejudices, and then fourth wave is like individual diverse feminism too. So. But this one, I really have some questions, like for aborting female fetuses. I don't think that's an attempt at genocide, because the point of aborting female fetuses, so I think like this doesn't quite map, like general hate doesn't quite map into like the women,
You know,
anti-women.
As you already said, that like the pyramid of hate was the like one kind of like theory.
General
structure
theory,
under the
right.
feminism. So that's not really like how can I say?
It's not made up.
That's not. Yeah.
No, I know it's not, you didn't make it up, but I'd say whoever made it up, whoever mapped it onto specifically feminist issues, I think their mapping's a little wrong. I would put
I think
abortion
That's
here.
because of the logic that genocide is based on you're going to kill someone based on like their identity and whatnot, and abortion of female fetuses is exactly the same logic. You kill
No, it's
someone-
not, no. This is my logic. Abortion of female fetuses is not designed to eliminate women, right? Abortion of female fetuses
But
is
it's based
because
on their identity.
because people individually don't want to have a female child, they'd rather have a male child because that's more advantageous for their family.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, gang rape and acid attacks, that is genocide actually. Why do people like say, why do, Boko Haram, right, in Africa? The ones who kidnapped like 300 girls from the Nigerian like girls' school, or IS, who like kidnapped like women from different religions and then forced them all, like they raped them and forced them to marry IS fighters. That gang rape is so that those women will only have children inside the society that captured them, that they will actually end their own culture. That's actually, I would put this here, acid attacks. Why? It's not literally attempting to eliminate women, but it's attempting to terrorize women and intimidate them so that they never ask for rights anymore. It's genocide against the idea of independent women. So to me, this is like, but I mean, of course, people who think abortion is like murder would say this is very serious. But to me, this is more like part of the systemic discrimination. Abortion is one of the things that systemically exists, selective abortion. Not to eliminate women, but simply because people would rather have a boy than a girl in their family.
I guess
So I would move things around a little bit. I think whoever made this analysis, like, I don't quite follow their logic, although this seems like in a more general sense to be like a reasonable thing. So,
I think.
yeah. Okay, so next person have the floor. Those were the comments that I was going to make.
This is true. I'm really sorry because this lecture might be a little bit a lot to you at once. So why we think this is other people's theory, but why we think the abortion of female fetus is genocide? As Peter said, in the past war developing countries, they don't want female baby because because the male baby actually gives like advantage in labor or something because of the social structure. Think about the same logic when Nazis killed the people like following the eugenic logic. Eugenic logic means you have a good genes and you can survive. You have bad genes or you have a like physical disability and you die. The purpose is the same because the eugenic logic was we make a better world with productive people. So we think this like we want the productive male baby is also same logic following the eugenic logic that Nazi did the genocide based on this logic. Yeah. Or maybe individual difference like thought it can be I agree with Peter also like in part of
It's not the same at all, I think. Like, except for the X and Y chromosome, right? The men and the women have the same genetics. It's not the same thing. The Nazis wanted to get rid of like Jews and gypsies because they thought Jewish genetics were bad genetics, and they thought Jews like were just like basically born bad. And same thing with gypsies and maybe some other minority groups as well, right? So it's really quite different, I think.
They think the XX genes are quite inferior because they weak.
Well, sure, but you can't get rid of XX and still have humans, right? Only. I mean, maybe in the future you could take two sperm and unite them and then have. I mean, with genetic engineering, it's probably going to be possible very soon. So there might actually be like genocide against women and like some men who just want to say, let's all have men and produce babies by men without any women. But I don't think it's the same thing now, at least. I think that.
Between individuals.
So I guess this conversation shows that feminism isn't just like one viewpoint. It's a lot of different takes on how you could take the issues.
Well, also never take a theory if you're reading something and it doesn't look quite right to you. Like just because some famous person said it, it doesn't mean it's totally correct. Or even if that it might have been correct in the past under those circumstances, it might not be correct now. Like you should always be a critical thinker, I think. Be smarter than what you read, because there's nothing that's a perfect theory.
Yeah, it's the same.
The reason why we prepared this theory and not just we are about the history of feminism, we are not using the timeline thing. We are just broadly what was the movement and what was the exact logic and exact behavior was made by the female. So the reason why we prepared is that we think that at least we provide lots of cases and examples, then you can just choose what you want and choose what you think right during your speech. So we just provide at least diversity things and about the history and about the cases. So maybe the Peter maybe some points you cannot understand, or maybe you think that is kind of wrong or not right about it. However, like except those things, at least you can use another things as your kind of base of your arguments or the example cases to persuade the judges. So yeah, if you use it in your speech, we will be really appreciate it.
You're here. Yeah, but so that's why if you have some thought, that's why we still have 10 minutes. So anybody else who has a thought, question, disagreement, additional information, anything, go up. I think we should use this time since we have so much information. Let's keep talking about it. Let's digest it. Let's make it into a usable form.
Japanese cases, the talk of the pyramid is sometimes abortions when the family is in poverty. They can. This is more practical. For example, they have no enough money to grow up all the family. If they are not abortion, if they take not abortions, the 5 babies, all of them are stabbed to death. And this case is, 1 or 2 babies are killed for their families. The case is very different situation in the genocide. Not based on the.
Yeah. So under that theory, maybe the professor or something famous in the feminism part, maybe he or she access to the genocide theme based on the identity, gender identity. However, I also consider the point that Pilar and Yoshi said, access from the situationally, I'm thinking about the family perspective and more realistically about the economic view. I think in that case, you can put the aversion case to the systematic discrimination.
And like I said too, I think gang rape and acid attacks are actually even more serious than what you guys represented them, because you're looking at those as just a very extreme case of individual violence, but it's more than that. It's a kind of terrorism, I think. It's much more than, you don't gang rape just because you want to hurt people. Well, maybe sometimes you do. I think
depending on the
situation, yeah. But a lot of the problem is it's really terrorism. It's designed to totally suppress women as a whole.
For as you said, genocide, but it could also be an act of violence between
Actually broken up,
yeah,
exactly. Revenge.
I have one more comment. I remembered now. You had so much, I forgot I was thinking about this. But another motion, actually, in addition to the motions, we didn't even look at the list of motions, but the list of motions, you can look at that anytime. And here's another motion that actually I was even thinking maybe I should have you debate on this one after we watch those 3 videos. So here's the motion. This House believes that feminists, activists should refuse to accept corporate sponsorship for their activism. I think that kind of motion has been debated before in other contexts as well, but those first 2 videos disturbed me a lot, actually. Because it's like every one of the lines they had, it's like they had the brand name there.
Right.
So it's like, oh yeah, always wants women to be free so that they can buy more tampons. But if they stop buying, I think always would not want them to be free, right? Yeah. Always wants women to keep running and doing more so that they can earn more money and buy more of our products. It really bothers me. I really hate advertising. But so then the third video, I really liked that one a lot because it was just they did it themselves. they didn't need any like fancy studios and lighting and script and all that, right? They just did it, and it was still like the most entertaining and fun and to me, like, yeah, I definitely, like, personally, I'm totally in favor of this. But I can see that there's a fair case to be made for the other side too, like, in many ways. So that could be a good motion also.